God some praise in here. Give God some praise in here. Come on, give God some praise in here. Don't play with it. Give God some praise in here. I'm just going to touch on verse 41 and I'm going to sit down. I want to talk about the drought is over. You don't have to sit down. You might as well stand up because we're getting ready to close. Verse 41 says, and Elijah said unto Ahab, the prophet said unto Ahab, I'm going to prophesy to this house tonight. The prophecy says, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. Backtrack. What are you saying, prophet? He tells them to get up. And a lot of times when there's no rain in your life, I was living in Indianapolis, that's where I'm from, and a few years back when I was living there, we had what they called a drought, where it didn't rain for months and months and months. The city began to dry up and the grass withered and the trees dried up and the leaves began to, it was summertime and it was so hot, and because there was no rain, everything around me began to die. When I would step out of where I lived, I would look at the grass, it was dying and everything around me looked dead. But I'm so glad to know that rain is coming after a while. Turn to your neighbor and tell them the drought is over. And we're getting ready to celebrate, because if the drought is over, Elijah looks at the man, at Ahab, and he said, get up. Now, first thing you got to tell yourself, when everything looks dead, you got to speak to yourself. You got to prophesy to yourself, and you got to tell yourself, get up. Turn to your neighbor and tell him, get up. Now point to yourself and say, self, get up. Some of you have some things in your life that's been causing you to feel like giving up. I feel like throwing in the towel. I feel like giving up because it's been rough and rough. The enemy's been fighting me on the right and on the left. But you got to do like the prophet and say, get up. Tell your neighbor, get up. After he tells him to get up, look at what he tells him to do. And this is very significant. He tells him to eat and drink. You got to understand, anytime the scripture talks about eating and drinking, it's talking about a celebration. In other words, it's not raining yet and everything looks dead. Everything looks dried up. But you got to get yourself up from the bed of lowly bar, rescue your praise, and begin to celebrate. So the prophet said, celebrate. Why celebrate? Everything is dead around me. Why celebrate? There's no life around me. Why celebrate? Because I hear the sound of rain. People of God, global destiny, don't leave out of here tonight without realizing the drought is over. The drought is over. The drought is over. I hear the sound. Oh, y'all don't believe it? You don't believe it? If you hear the sound, make a sound. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say, rejoice.